Hey everybody, welcome back to Bonsai Tortoise. Today we're doing spring maintenance in the greenhouse. Okay, so today we're in a greenhouse. It's hot as heck. It's about 95 degrees in here, so if I'm sweating a little bit, you know why. We're going to go through a bunch of different plants today. It's just general maintenance on our tropicals inside the greenhouse. This time of year, these things go crazy with growth. We have increased sunlight levels. The heat inside the greenhouse basically mirrors a tropical environment. Okay, so I have my helper here, Jack. Wave hi, Jack.
Hello.
Okay, so this is a ficus mug carbon melon seed. All we're going to do is defoliate and just a little bit of wiring maybe. Melon seed ficus have naturally smaller leaves, making them ideal for bonsai, though leaf sizes are really just perfect. However, they're really slower growers compared to other tropical species, so you don't get that immediate gratification like you would get with a normal ficus microcarpa. So the end of winter, beginning of spring, this greenhouse acts as like a heat sink during the day, and it really becomes that really hardcore tropical climate that these plants just love. So they really just explode in growth, and it's a job to keep up with them all.
Dad, did you know on Roblox it's pretty much the same moving on Minecraft and computer? They're both the same thing in computer.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
All we did with this tree is defoliate, trim a couple branches, and add one wire.
Ta-da!
Next plant. Okay, so now we have some spineless prickly pear pads. This is a different variety that I have. I have the, I honestly don't know what the species is named, but I have just the regular pure green stuff that grows down in Florida. This is a more of a variegated variety. So we're going to try to grow these up, and got these off a really cool person on Instagram. I'm going to pot these up and see if we can get them to grow. The soil I'm using is half organic potting soil, a quarter sand, and a quarter used bonsai soil.
One down, two to go.
If anyone out there is looking to pot up some succulents, you can buy cactus soil, but it's easy enough to make with regular potting soil and some kids' play sand.
And we have our 3 cactuses.
Yep. Okay. So 3 variegated puncha pads, or prickly pear, and they'll grow. They're pretty easy. So, good to go. Okay, so this one is a Ficus Bardavii. So there's only 2 cuttings in here, and I planted it deep in the pot, so the soil level comes right back here, and that really helps promote aerial root growth because it's dark, it's more humid down there. So hopefully one day when I pull this out of the pot, it'll be a really, really cool tree. Hang on. The only thing we're going to do with this today is remove the figs. It's starting to grow figs. So as you can see, it's got all these figs right here. So all these figs everywhere are coming off. Ficus are actually fig trees, and the figs that we eat come from Ficus carica, which is actually one of the earliest known examples of domesticated plants dating back over 6,500 years. On ornamental figs like this Ficus Bardavii, you can leave the figs in your bonsai if you want. However, by removing them, we're allowing the tree to move more energy into growing leaves and branches as opposed to growing figs. The figs are a fruiting body that's pollinated by a specific wasp, which isn't native, so the only way we can reproduce these trees is through cuttings.
How about one day we trap a wasp and we let that wasp and we put a little fig tree and put that wasp and it does what it wants.
That sounds cool.
So we need to catch a wasp carefully.
Without getting stung, right?
We have to put on a bee costume, of course.
A bee costume?
Not an actual bee costume.
We shouldn't dress up like a bee?
Like the ones that you have a hat and a mask.
Is it yellow and black like a bee?
No.
Or
When you get honey. When you get honey.
Well, I go to the supermarket to get my honey.
Daddy.
What?
You know what I'm talking about.
I do?
You see, when you have something that leans down on your face and a hat.
Something that leans down on my face and a hat. That could be a million things. Like the bee costume, do you wear wings?
No! Let's just stop.
Do you have
You
like
know
the
what
big,
I'm talking about.
I don't really know what you're talking about.
You do.
Do you have like big beady eyes like a bee does? Or when you walk around, do you go buzz? Oh, do you... Is there a difference between a queen bee costume and a regular bee costume?
You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Yes, you do.
So all the figs are out. This is some of them. This was 2 cuttings that I put in this pot, and you can see all those aerial roots that are growing. I put it deep in the pot, so one day this will be a really cool tree. And this kid was a big help. Thanks, bud.
You're welcome.
Are you leaving me?
Not just yet.
Not just yet? You're going to hang out for a little more?
Maybe.
Okay. All right, next tree.
Okay. Since you said next tree, I am not going to be working anymore.
You're not
No more cutting for me. Bye.
Love you.
I'm not going to the tortoises and
All right, this is a ficus carpet that I grew from cuttings, and it rooted, and last year I put it over a rock. This tree is just going to get defoliated, and maybe I'll cut a couple branches back. Ficus make it easy to create bonsai from scratch using cuttings, which is always fun. Alright, quick dirty defoliation. I left a couple of the tips on to try to thicken up some of these trunks. So these will be sacrifice branches, and that's it. Alright, next thing we have are some root cuttings. These are Ficus salicaria or willow leaf ficus root cuttings that I took last year. And if you take a root cutting from one of them, you'll get new trees. And these actually turn into really cool trees over time, and they make really awesome like cascades and semi-cascades and all that stuff. So we're going to put these in separate pots. And that'll be a new little tree. Could make a cool cascade one day. But now it's going to go in real soil, which is going to be a mix of potting soil and bonsai soil. You can see I'm not taking all the dirt off of these. I'm leaving some. Just so it doesn't get too shocked. These branches here will get nice and thick, and you can make really cool cascades with these root cuttings. They look really gnarly. So they'll stay in these little pots for another year. I might pop them up into some bigger pots next year. We'll see. Or I might sell them on eBay. Who knows? This tree used to be the top of that tree. So this whole thing will really never turn into a bonsai on its own. You got to help it along. So what I'm probably going to do, not today, but I'm probably going to take this off, root the top eventually, and then this will grow into its own bonsai. It'll bud back. Maybe I'll go good and Bari, but this whole thing's got years and years and years to go. But what I'm going to do right now is defoliate this, and then we'll defoliate that. So no styling whatsoever, just totally defoliated it. I left the leaf tips on this branch here and this branch here, because if I do chop this, somewhere around here, these two could be half decent branches, so you want them to thicken up a bit. And these were just shaded out anyway. So that's done. Like I said, this was the bottom of that, and I just did work on this a month ago, and we're just getting to the point of the year where the sun's getting longer. So back then, the sun wasn't as bright, it wasn't as warm in the greenhouse, and it budded back. A lot of this is all new growth. So I'm going to cut it back hard today and go from there. I had been growing this tree for about 3 or 4 years. When I took it out of the nursery container last year, it was about an 8-foot tree. I knew it had a good base and good root structure to it, because part of that root structure that you see was sticking up out of the pot. It still has a long time to go. But I hope over the next couple of years this will turn into a really cool bonsai and actually be probably one of my favorites in my collection. So this tree was sold to me under a different name, and I forget what that name was. They said the common name was rock splitter, which you can call any ficus a rock splitter. But it looks and acts like a Ficus microcarpa, so that's what I'm going with. Okay, so I gave this tree a really hard cut back. All this stuff is going to bud back like nuts, and I'll have just better ramification, better taper. This tree is still way early in the building phases, so I didn't totally defoliate these bottom branches. I've left the leaf tips on, that last leaf on all these, because I need these to thicken up. All right, that's for that one. And this is a regular buttonwood, or green leaf buttonwood. There's silver buttonwood, there's whatever. This is just a regular old buttonwood. This is all deadwood. So you can imagine this tree is going to look just amazing. But I've had this tree for, God, 5 years, and I've just been growing this out, all this out, to make that as healthy and robust, and trying to thicken this one live vein that I have. So if you imagine all this green here, which is really healthy, you know, it's really good. All this green here comes from this one live vein. Buttonwood branches are really, really brittle, even these thinner ones here. So you can't do much bending. You can bend them when they're green like that. It's harder to bend them when they get this thick. I might take it out of that nursery pot this year and put it into a bonsai pot. This is going to take a lot of work to get this deadwood where I want it. It's going to take a lot of carving, some good lime sulfur. Living in the Northeast, I haven't had much luck with buttonwood, even with the warm tropical conditions in my greenhouse. And I've lost a bunch of them, but I think I finally figured it out with this one. Even so, I'm still a little leery of pushing these trees all that hard. So today I'm just cutting back some of the old leaves and moving the branches using guy wires in an attempt to make it look like the tree is growing and the deadwood is coming out of the tree itself in time. This branch, if you remember, was out to here. So I brought that back to here to try to make this look eventually like the deadwood's growing out of the tree. So we'll see what we see. This is a Ginseng Ficus. It's just a Ficus microcarpa, and often what will happen is they'll have this thick ball of a trunk. I don't have many of these because honestly I don't like that ball on the bottom. And then, you know, but this one did shoot some aerial roots, which is what I was going for. Which hopefully it'll shoot some more aerial roots over time and kind of cover up that funky ball of a trunk. You'll find these Ginseng Ficus in big box stores like Lowe's and Walmart, and they sell them as bonsai, but they usually need a lot of work. From what I've read, Ginseng Ficus are just seed-grown ficus as opposed to those grown from cuttings, and that's where you get that big bulbous trunk, which is actually more of an enhanced root structure. A little bit of wire here. I left the leaf tips here to kind of thicken up this branch. If that's our lower branch, we want that a lot thicker. Same thing with this back branch here. So I just kind of wired them out all the way to the end. And this branch was kind of over here. I brought it back here to fill in this gap. Okay, last tree for the day. This is a bush in a pot, actually. Now this is a willow leaf ficus, Ficus salicaria. It's actually a whole bunch of willow leaf ficuses strapped together to try to make one big tree. Over time, these trees will thicken up and they'll all fuse. And I'm hoping what I'll have is a really interesting trunk there. So that's cutting in right here a little too much, and I don't like it. So what I'll have a wire scar there. See, it's cutting in here a little bit too. But right now I'm just going to take them off and see what we can see. So you can see the beginnings of wire scars. This is the striping here. That's actually not bad. That'll definitely grow out. That's not really that indented in at all. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to thicken these trunks, right? And as they thicken, they'll kind of grow together and form one big tree. I want to take the weeds out and fertilize. Willow leaf ficus are the most forgiving of all ficus. I can literally chop that trunk and get brand new branches. So none of these branches matter. All these branches are doing is going into building a thicker trunk. And the more branches I have, the better. So that just stays exactly like that. I'll give it some fertilizer, and it'll be nice and happy, and we're good to go. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this video of just a bunch of random plants that I was taking care of. It's springtime. That's what I have to do in springtime. I have a lot more to do, but that's just the flavor of some of the stuff that I've got to do. So thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment below if you have any questions, and we'll see you again. Bye.